This is the first part of your course syllabus. Each subject is divided up into the slices on the pie chart. Under Math Foundations, you have 33 topics. The first day we're going to cover the section on whole numbers, and so I named them MF1 for Math Foundations, and just the first 6 topics in whole numbers would be listed there. So on the first day of your worksheet, we will cover those 6 topics. I suggest you go over the video, and if you want to do one at a time you can, or if you want to do all 6 of them, then go back to your Alex pie chart and see if you have anything under that whole number section and do them. Days 2 through 4 we're going to be dealing with fractions. So on day 2 we're doing types of fractions and conversion procedures, and I believe we're going down to adding and subtracting fractions with the same denominator, and so I've just covered those topics, and I divided it up into 3 days so that 3 days so that you didn't have so much stuff at one time. But as you cover those first 4 topics, go back, look on your pie chart, see if you have them. If not, you can go ahead to the next day and so forth. So that's kind of how that's going to work. And so on your syllabus it'll be divided up, and then through day 8 will be under the Math Foundations. Once you get to day 9, you're going to do percents and their applications. And so that's all the way down to day 17. Then the interest topics, which will be day 18 down to day 23. And then personal finance, which is day 24 down to day 31. And then the last section is business finance, day 32 down to day 40. So I've kind of divided them up into little sections, and you have the syllabus copy here that you can kind of see what the names of things are and how they go. Now I can't add to the worksheet pages to name things, so what some people do is as they work on a problem, they write down what it's called. On your worksheet pages you'll have 3 of each kind of topic, so you'll have 3 that deal with whole number place value, 3 that deal with rounding numbers, 3 adding whole numbers, 3 subtracting whole numbers, and so forth. So on that first sheet you're going to have 18 problems, 3 of each of those 6 kind of things. So if you want to know what they're called on your worksheet pages, just go ahead and write those down next to each of the problems, divided up at 3 problems at a time. Business Math Worksheet Day 1, I've just kind of divided up the sections into things that are alike that go together. This one is Mathematics Foundations, doing the stuff on whole numbers. If you look at the front on the syllabus, it will have how each day is divided up. Sometimes there are maybe 5 or 6 topics, sometimes there's only 1 or 2 because of the way the test or the homework generator works. So as we go through these, you can either just do one at a time and then go to your Alex pie chart and see if you have them, or you can do the whole worksheet and then go back to your Alex pie chart and see if you have any of those topics. First ones here, we're just identifying numbers and what places they're in. This comma here is a little confusing. It's the comma to separate the sentence from the number, so just kind of ignore that's there. But our numbers, ones, tens, hundreds, the first comma gets you to the thousands position, so thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. The second comma gets you to the millions, so millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. So I'm identifying the digit first of all in the millions position. So the millions would be after the second comma. The 4 is in there. 4 million would be a 4 with 6 zeros behind it. The number in the 10,000s position. So the first comma is our thousands. We want to be in the 10,000s, so the 1s and then the 10s. So the 3 is in the 10,000s position. And in the hundreds position, it's going to be before the comma, 1s, 10s, hundreds. And so the 6 is going to be in my hundreds position. And if you are not sure of the names of the positions, if you go to the Explain on the Alex pie chart, they will have notes. There'll be also ones that say Linda's notes that may or may not be uploaded yet. And so, but if you look at the Alex notes, it's going to tell you and have a chart with all of the names on there that you can use for reference if you need to. Second one here. Again, ignore this comma here. That's separating the number from the rest of the sentence. In my number 98,628,293, Identify the digits in, first of all, the millions position. So the millions would be after the second comma. That's 98 million. The 8 is in the millions position. The number in the 10,000s position. So here again we're at the thousands, so ones and tens. The 2 is in your 10,000s position. And then the number in the tens position. The tens position, ones, tens. So the 9 and the 93 there is in your tens position. Move the board up here. At any time, if I go too fast, you can always rewind and pause it on something so that if you don't have everything written down, you can go back or re-listen to it. In the number 435,729,738, identify the digits. And again, ignore that comma on the end is there. It's a little misleading. Number in the millions position. So after the second comma, that 5. That stands for 435 million. 5 is in my millions position. In the 100,000s position, so here's my thousands, ones, tens, 100,000 would be the 7, 700,000. And in the hundreds position, ones, tens, hundreds, again we have a 7. And so the 5 is in the millions, the 7's in the 100,000s, and there's also a 7 in the hundreds. The reason we need to know the position is because you're going to be doing some rounding. When it says round to the nearest 10, you have to identify the number in the tens position, which in this case is a 3. Anything after that, you're going to change to a 0. So I'm going to write it as 4,030. So when I'm rounding, I'm trying to decide, does it say 4,030 or does it round up to the next 10, which would be 4,040, right? I'm rounding that number in the tens position up by 1. In order to decide, we look at the number after the tens position. If it's 5 or higher, we round it up. If it's 4 or less, we leave it alone. Since this is a 3, which is 4 or less, we leave it at 4,030. So 4,033 is between these two values, but it's closest to 4,030. So if I'm rounding 98,817 to the nearest 100, the 8 is in the 100 spot. So do I leave it 98,800 or do I round it up by 100 to 98,900? So I look at the number right after the 100 spot. Again, if it's 5 or higher, I round it up. If it's 4 or less, I leave it alone. Well, 1 is less than 4. So again, I'm going to have 98,800. 98,817 is between these two numbers, but it's closest to this one. Number 6, if we look at that one, 7,362,841 to the nearest 1,000. So the number in the thousands position is the 2. So do I leave it 7,362,000 or do I round it up to 7,363,000? Notice the 2 is in the thousands position. I rounded it up by 1. Now I have to look. I look at the number right after that 2. It's an 8. If it's 5 or higher, I round it up. If it's 4 or less, I leave it alone. 8 is higher than 5, so in this case, I have to round it up. So 7,363,000 is what it's closest to. Number 7, we have a big long table, so it's on 2 pages there, but I'll try to show both pages. It says, on a recent business trip to Miami, Sam Hayes spent $248 for food, $175 for hotels, and $701 for airfare. How much did Sam spend on this trip? Do not use a calculator. So I want to take my $248 that I spent on food. I'm going to add my $175 that I spent on the hotel, and I'm going to add $701, and I'm going to find my total. Again, they don't want you to use a calculator. They want you to do it paper, pencil. If you want to check with your calculator, I'm not going to come and say, oh, you touched your calculator. But the whole point is, can you do it paper, pencil? So if I'm adding here, you can add in whatever order. You can add the 8 plus the 5 first. You can add the 8 plus the 1. You can add the 5 plus the 1. Whichever order you want to add. 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 1 is 14, so I bring down my 4 and I carry my 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 plus 7 is 12, so I bring down my 2 and I carry my 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, 4, 4 plus 7 is 11. So I spent $11,024 for the total on my trip. Number 8 then, same kind of thing, giving you kind of a word problem. I'm going to move it up so you can see a little better, hopefully. During the 4 quarters of 2014, Cook and Cook distributors earned the following profit amounts. So the first quarter they earned $3,439, second quarter $8,293, third quarter $4,807, fourth quarter $2,762. What is the total? That gives me a clue. Whenever they say find the total, you're probably adding up a bunch of numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and add. So 9, 10, 11, 12. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 7 would be 19. 19 plus 2 would be 21. So I bring down my 1, carry my 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 9 is 14. 14 plus 6 would be 20. Bring down my 0, carry my 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 2 would be 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 7 would be 23. Carry my 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. 13 plus 4 would be 17. 17 plus 2 would be 19. Of course, any number that's bigger than 1,000, they probably put the comma in there because it looks prettier. And so $19,301 would be my total profit for the 4 quarters. Number 9, same kind of thing. It says during the first quarter of the calendar year, discounts galore, paid business expenses in the following. So January 2,651, February 1,817, and March 2,925. What was the total amount of business expenses? So again, I'm going to add those up. And so 1 plus 7 would be 8. 8 plus 5 would be 13. Carry my 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 2 would be 9. I don't have to carry anything. 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 plus 9 is 23. Carry my 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 5, 6, 7. And so I'm going to have $7,393 in total expenses if I add those up. $10, $11, $12, going to have you do subtraction. It says calculate the difference. The difference is your answer when you subtract 2 numbers. So we're going to go ahead and do our subtraction again. It doesn't want you to use a calculator. It wants you to do it paper pencil. If you want to check with the calculator, go ahead. But 9 minus 8 is 1. Here I have a 4. I can't take 6 away from 4, so I borrow 1 from the 7. I make that a 6, and I bring down that and make that 14. So 14 minus 6 would be 8. Here again I have 6 minus 9. I can't take 6 or 9 away from 6, so again I have to borrow. So I borrow 1 and make that a 7, make that 16. 16 minus 9 is going to be 7, and then I have 7 minus 5, which is 2. So I had 87.49 minus 59.68, and my answer, 2,781. So number 11, again, it wants us to subtract without using our calculator. we would start on the end. We can't take 4 away from 1, so we borrow 10, makes that a 6, and makes that 11. 11 minus 4 would be 7. Then I have 6 minus 6, which is 0. Here, 3 minus nothing would be 3, and 5 minus nothing is 5. So if I have 5,371, and I'm subtracting 64, I end up with 5,307. Number 12, same kind of thing. Can't take 9 away from 2, so I borrow 10 from the 3, makes that a 2 and makes this 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. Can't take 7 away from 2, so I borrow 10 from here, which makes that an 8 and makes this 12. 12 minus 7 would be 5. 8 minus 3 is 5. I can bring down that 3. So if I have 3,932 and I subtract 379, I get 3,553. 13, 14, 15, going to do some word problems. Again, they don't want you to use a calculator. It says Watson Decorating purchased 63 small chandeliers for resale to its customers. Each chandelier cost me $91. What amount of Watson Decorating's incorporated, or what was the amount of Watson's Decorating's total purchase? Do not use a calculator. So I went and bought 63 chandeliers. Each of them cost me $91. I have to take 63 times 91. And if you do 91 times 63, you're going to end up with the same answer. I don't have enough space to write there. I'm going to write it way over here. 63 times 91. So when I start in the ones and I take the 1 times each of those. So 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 6 is 6. Now I have to remember the 9's in the 10 spot. So we add a 0 down here because we're multiplying by 90 instead of 9, and that way it keeps track of where we're at. 9 times 3 is 27. I carry my 2. 9 times 6 is 54. Add my 2, so 56. And then I add what I have in the columns. And so I'm just going to write it down here. 3 plus 0 is 3. 6 plus 7 is 13. Carry my 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. Bring down my 5. So $5,733 is what was the amount of my purchase if I take 63 times 91. Number 14, same kind of thing. Cash and carry discounters purchased new display equipment on credit and agreed to make 48 monthly payments. So every month for 48 months we're going to pay $367 each month. What was the total cost? Again, it doesn't want you to use a calculator. Now usually if I have a 3-digit number and a 2-digit number, I put the one with the more digits on top. So I would put the 367 on top and I'd multiply it by the 48. Not that you have to, but it makes your work a little bit easier when you're trying to do it. And so if you take the one that has more digits on there and put that one on top, it's going to make it a little easier. So 8 times 7 is 56. Carry my 5. 6 times 8 is 48, plus my 5 would be 53. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5 would be 29. Again, I don't have a whole lot of writing space, so I'm kind of smushing that in there. I'm in the 10 spot, so I have to add my 0 because I'm really multiplying by 40 instead of by 4. 4 times 7 is 28. I got to carry my 2. 4 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus my 2 would be 26. Carry my 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 would be 14. And so I have 6 plus 0, which is going to be a 6 on the end. 8 plus 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. Carry my 1. 9 plus 6 plus 1 would be 16. Carry my 1. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus that 1 is 7. And then I have a 1. And so 17,616 if we take our 367 times our 48 months. 17,616. And number 15, we'll at least have a little bit more room to write, since we're to the bottom of that page. Outdoor furnishing stores had 21 unsold lawn tables at the end of the year. Each one cost $284. What is the total value of all the tables? So I have 284 tables. I'm going to take it times the 21 tables that I have left. So 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Then I'll multiply by the 2 in the tens place, so I add the 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus my 1 is 5. And then I add 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 8 is 16. Carry my 1. 1 plus 2 plus 6 would be 3 plus 6 is 9. And then bring down my 5. So $5,964. $16, $17, and $18 again are some word problems. Want you to do them without using your calculator. It says the computer hardware company purchased new equipment that cost $10,560, including finance charges. The firm will pay for the equipment over the next 33 months. What is the amount of each monthly payment? So I know the total. I've got to divide it up into 33 payments. So again, I'm going to divide on this one. I'm going to make 33 payments, $10,560. So when I'm dividing, I start and say, well, 33 doesn't go into 1, 33 doesn't go into 10. How many times does 33 go into 105? So I think about 3 going into 10 9 times. And so I'm going to try the 9, and if I have to change it, I will. 9 times 3 is 27, and 9 times 3 is... Try that again. I don't know what I'm thinking there. Start that one over. So the computer hardware company purchased new equipment that cost $10,560, including finance charges. The firm will pay for the equipment over the next 33 months. What is the amount of each monthly payment? They don't want you to use a calculator. So I have to take my total cost and divide it into 33 payments. So I'm going to take 33 and divide it into 10,560. Now 33 doesn't go into 1 and it doesn't go into 10, so I'm taking 33 into 105. How many times does 33 go into 105? Well, 3 goes into 10 about 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, so I'm going to check that out. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So 33 times 3 is 99. I'm then going to go ahead and subtract. Can't take 5 or 9 away from 5, so I have to borrow and make that a 9 and make that 15. So 105 minus 99 is going to be 6, and I bring down my next 6. 33 goes into 66 2 times. 2 goes into times 33 is 66. I get a remainder of 0, but I still have that 0. 33 goes into 0 0 times, so don't forget to put that in there. So 33 into 10,560 is 320 times. And if you wanted to check that out, you would take 320 times the 33 payments, which is the 10,560, right? I just do the opposite and take my quotient, which is my answer, times my divisor to see if I get that amount of money I started with. 320 times 33, sure enough, is 10,560. All right, last two on here, 17 and 18. It says, 3 years ago, Alice Sanchez formed a partnership with 5 friends and agreed to share profits and losses equally. This year, the partnership made a profit of $57,318. What is each partner's share of the year's profit? So, we have Alice and we have 5 friends, so we would have a total of 6 people that need to share the profit. I'm going to go ahead and write number 17 down here so I have room to divide. And so I'm going to take 6 and divide it into 57,318. So then we're just going to go ahead and do our long division. 6 doesn't go into 5, 6 goes into 57, 9 times 6 is 54. Bring down my 3 and then bring down my other 3. 6 goes into 33, 5 times 6 is 30. Get a 3 again. Bring down my 1. 6 goes into 31. 5 times 6 again is 30. Bring down my 1. Bring down my 8. 6 goes into 18 3 times, so it goes in there evenly. And so each partner's share of the year's profit would be $9,553. Number 18, it says, during the week of March 26, John Jenkins completed 7 sales that totaled $48,664. What was the average dollar amount of each sale? Do not use a calculator. Hint, the average is found by dividing the total sales by the number of individual sales transactions. So, number 18, we had 7 sales. We made $48,664. So we're just going to go ahead again and do our long division. 7 goes into 48. 7 times 6 is 42. So we have a 6 and bring down our 6. 7 into 66, well 7 times 9 is 63, so we have a 3 and bring down our 6. 7 dividing into 36, 7 times 5 is 35, so we have a 1, we bring down our 4, and then 7 goes into 14, 2 times 7 is 14, we got a 0 for our remainder, so the average dollar amount of each sale was $6,952. So just doing some long division by our whole numbers, just make sure on 17 here we had Alice and her 5 friends that we ended up having to divide by 6 total people.